Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Hey, Dan. My name is Belinda Lau, and I'm living in Los Angeles, California, originally from Vancouver, Canada. And I am the CEO of Elims, a dentist-crafted sustainable oral care brand.
Awesome. So I'm just curious more about your brand. Like, what inspired you to go ahead and start this business?
I like to say it's a very short story of how it started, but a very long sort of preparation to get to that point. So my background is I'm a biomedical engineer. I worked as a biomedical engineer for over 15 years for the biggest medical device companies in the US. And, I just along the way, I saw all of these products in the medical and dental space, and I just always thought about like, is there a way that we can make this both clinically effective but also sustainable? And I didn't really think anything of it. And then my husband, he's been a dentist for over 20 years, and so together we were like, we should do something about this. At home, we've got 3 kids, and they're using the floss picks every day and throwing those away daily, and they've got toothbrushes, and somehow kids wear their toothbrushes out within like a week rather than 3 to 4 months. So we just started thinking, hey, is there something that we could do something about this? And because my husband's a dentist, and with my background, we wanted to make sure that the products that we built for oral care were actually effective. So they actually work. We use cleaner ingredients, plus they're sustainable. So we were just kind of thinking around about it. And around the time I was actually in a business school, and when you're in business school, you're just so inspired by the people around you, about their stories and their journey, and especially about the passion that they have for their careers. And I really wanted to have that again as a as a product developer. So just one day I woke up and I was like, I think this is it. I think this is something that I have a background about, something that I can actually do something about, and we have the people around us in our network who can support us. So that's sort of like the genesis of Elims in the early days. And, we just really woke up, we talked to a bunch of people, and they agreed that this was an area that wasn't being covered, of like sustainable oral care plus clinical oral care. And, back in 2019, it wasn't a thing. So we leaned in, and here we are 4+ years later.
Well, yeah, and that's super fascinating. Obviously, you guys now have like many different products. I'm curious more about like your different products and how your customers best use your products.
Yeah, so our hero product is really our toothpaste. It is a cleaner ingredient, fluoride alternative toothpaste. And I love it because it's such a multitasker. One, we got rid of fluoride, so there's no toxins. It's all food grade ingredients. 2, so it actually remineralizes and does all the things that fluoride does without any of the sort of the side effects or the toxins in it. And then on top of that, it does teeth whitening because of the key ingredient that we use is nanohydroxyapatite, which is sort of like it's basically what your teeth and your bones are naturally made of. So you're basically plastering your teeth with what it's already made of at a microscopic level, which helps build in the little cuts and fissures on the surface of your teeth. So that gives it a whitening effect, which is amazing. And because it's doing that, it also gets rid of sensitivity for teeth. So, we say that it helps like protect your teeth, it helps reduce sensitivity, and it also helps whiten, which is such a beautiful thing. And, obviously, if you've ever brushed your teeth in your life, which I think most people have, they know to brush their teeth at least twice a day for at least 2 minutes. And, we haven't changed any part of that sort of routine or habit. The other product that we have that I really love is our teeth whitening strip. It's, if you've ever used like a crest whitening strip in the past before, it does the same job with far less ingredients and cleaner ingredients. We still use hydrogen hydrogen peroxide, but we use 10 very simple food grade ingredients, and it actually acts like sort of as a minty mouth freshener. It tastes amazing, and there's no weird, bitter aftertaste or anything like that. And the beauty of this product is it absolutely whitens your teeth the same as Crest White Strips, but we reduce the amount of plastic that's used. So do you ever use the Crest White Strips? It's like a plastic tape on a plastic film in a plastic sachet, and we got rid of all of that. So you just take out the single little dissolving strip, you place it on your teeth. It dissolves in seconds. I mean, you can use it anywhere because it just molds to your teeth and it's completely invisible. So, you and I could be wearing our teeth whitening strips on this call right now and no one would know because it's
Awesome.
completely invisible. So we got the clinical benefit of, getting your teeth whiter, but also sort of a healthier way to do it in terms of healthier, cleaner ingredients. And then we got rid of the plastic. So it really is the culmination of all of the pillars of our brand in that one product. So yeah, so we love it. We have other products coming out. We have a Kids Light coming out. We have a floss product in the works, and then a new kind of sustainable toothbrush, which I'm really excited about. So we got sort of like the whole gamut of things that you need in your toolkit to keep your teeth nice and healthy.
That's awesome. And so in terms of like selling these products, do you guys typically sell more in like dental offices, like on your website, other retail stores? Like what has been kind of like the best channels for you to actually go and sell this product?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best channel depends on the phase of the business that you're in. So I'll say early on, we tried to do everything from Amazon to website, dental offices, beauty boutiques, retail. We did it all. And we learned a lot in the first 3 years of the business. And we realized that, because we were still, in the early phases of the business, your margins have to be really good in order to go into retail. And it's sort of the chicken or the egg thing. Do you go into retail and get the better margins, or do you go into retail first? So it depends per person. So we decided to just dive in and see what we could find out. And so when we went into retail, we were in a couple mass retail stores, and it was really great for brand awareness, but our margins weren't at that great. So, we weren't making a ton of profit, which is really what fuels the business, and it's the cash flow. So, Amazon was doing really well for us, and we decided to ramp up on, a couple other e-com sites like Walmart.com and Kohl's. And those seem to bring in more consistent profit and a lot less brand building. So when you see our product on a shelf in a retail store, there's a story behind it. Like all of this intro that I just gave you, Dan, like there's no Belinda whispering in the consumer's ear. Got half a second to convey your value to the consumer for them to pick it up. Whereas online, it's much easier to convey your brand and your story and your value. So we decided to pull back on retail. So currently, we're in a bunch of dental offices across the country. We're in beauty boutiques, smaller beauty boutiques around California and New York. And then we've decided to really just double down on our e-com side of the business, which is growing and doing really well. So we thought, okay, we'll do this until we're at a point where we feel like, we're ready for a more mass or broader expansion. But for now, we're able to keep our profit margins nice and healthy. We're able to control the message and build a little bit of more of a community because we get to sort of interact with our consumers better. So that's where we're at now, 4 years into the business.
Awesome. So in terms of your direct to consumer, have you been doing more like meta ads or other channel? What has been the best channel for you to kind of get customers from that standpoint?
It's a great question. We don't do paid ads. The only place where we do some marginal ads is on Amazon, right? So because we want to keep up the rankings. And what we do is and I hate this term, but it's the organic marketing, right? Building the TikTok, the Instagram, doing reels, partnerships, collaborations. That's all we do. If we spend money, it's really just to support our dental office partners in helping them feel more success in their dental practice and showing showing up with our products. So we build cute little sample packs for the dental offices to give out at, your next dental hygiene appointment, or, if a patient comes in asking for a product like ours, they'll have it at hand to give it to them. So that's where we focus our marketing dollars, is really around just the Amazon rankings, and also around supporting some of the more smaller businesses in our network. I would love to say that we spend, tens of thousands of dollars in meta ads, but the advice that I've gotten in the last few years was that if you're not putting in, the 10, 20K into each channel, you're not going to see meaningful return or data. And we're just not at that point now. And we reinvest a lot of our profits back into the product and the science and the research. And so we didn't want to give that up, that side of it up, because, we're nerds and we're science geeks. So we're like, if we're going to spend money, we want to spend it on stuff we like to work with, which is all the product side of things. So that's where we are now. If you ask me again in a year, I'll probably give you a different answer.
Makes sense. So essentially, like for you, like the best strategy has been like collaborations. You might have other people, maybe like health influencers, mom influencers, folks like that, and then you'll send them product and they'll make content, like sort of, you could say UGC, like on your behalf, because
Yeah.
I think, to your point, right, it is so much more impactful when somebody can explain the product. And that's a challenge that people have sometimes in retail, like other channels. So if somebody in a video can say, hey, like, I'm using this, or my kids are using it, and here is why it's better, et cetera, it probably adds just so much more value.
I think so. I want to say that it's our strategy, but it's our strategy because we can't afford anything else. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
like, with the budget that I have, what is the maximum impact and influence that I can have with the limited dollars that I have? And the UGC influencer, that side of things, it does work because you're really connecting with people. If you truly understand who your target market is, if you know who that person is and you know who's influencing them, then it works. So for us, like, we partner a lot with like registered dental hygienists, because they want to know what's cool and new in their world. They want to offer new technologies to their patients, and their patients are moms, the young, moms that are coming in saying, hey, what should my husband and I be using? What should my kids be using? And the hygienist is like, oh, well, here's this product, Elims. You should be using this because bam, 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 bam. And, with the limited reach that we have in our marketing, it's been effective, and we give them a lot of support. And, if they come to us asking a lot of questions or needing more marketing materials, we're happy to provide those things for them.
That's awesome. And then I guess in terms of your product being in dental office, like obviously, like you mentioned, your husband being a dentist, I'm sure helps a lot. So do you kind of like leverage that network or go to like conferences? Like how have you kind of grown that channel?
Yeah, it's been kind of two ways. One thing that we do is we do a lot of outreach to dental hygienists on social media. So, every few months we'll do like either like a giveaway, or, dental hygiene month was very recent. And so we said, hey, if you're a dental hygienist, fill out this form and we're happy to send you a little gift just to thank you for all the hard work that you do and for supporting all of our oral health across the country. So just getting that community more engaged. And then we have also done some outreach. So what we've done is we've looked for people like dental offices that are really into what we do. So modern, holistic, clean ingredients, like the dental offices that don't necessarily offer fluoride because their patient base doesn't want that, and reaching out to them and saying, hey, here we are. How can we work together? We want to help you make money. Like, what can we do together? And so that's worked really well. And just also, yeah, just kind of making sure that we keep up in the industry. So knowing like what's going on with the CDC and the FDA, what are they saying about oral care, about ingredients, what are their concerns for this year and the next 5 years in terms of oral care, and just being sort of like knowledgeable of what's going on. That way we can talk to our customers better, but also we know how we're preparing our pipeline and our products.
For sure, yeah. I think Florida is a very hot topic of conversation now in 2025. So
Yep.
I guess in terms of 2025, like obviously you're still in Q1. So I'm curious, like what are some of your biggest goals and objectives for this year?
Yeah, it sounds really boring, but it's all the boring stuff. Now that we're 4 years in, we kind of figured out like the promotion, the product, the distribution to an extent. So really it is tightening all of the insides of the house, right? So it's inventory management, cash flow management, making sure our finances are all buttoned up, just making sure that we're getting the right lines of credit and all of the sort of the unsexy stuff when it comes to running a business. That for our outlook for this year, that's what we need to get more discipline, because we were spending a lot of money in the first few years, which is very normal. But now it's like, okay, how do we get smarter? How do we clean our house so that we're a bit more efficient, that we are, finding all of the loose ends in terms of hidden costs. In CPG, there's so many hidden costs, little fees here, storage fees, referral fees, they call it so many different things, but there's all these little hidden costs, just kind of like a leaky bucket in the business. And so I got to find all the little leaks in the bucket, and I got to try to patch them up the best I can to make sure that the business is healthy going into year 5, because I know, we're growing at a pretty steady state now, and we have 3 to 4 years of data on the industry in our own business and the products which are working well, what's working well, what's not working well, and really just riding on what's working well, stop doing things that are not working well, and just really focus on the business and the operation side of things this year.
So, I mean, obviously you've been doing this for a few years. So if you could go back in time to before you got started, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Cash is king. Like, conserve that cash. We spent lots of money very early on doing if I was an advisor to myself right now, to my younger self, like 4 or 5 years ago, I would tell her, what are you doing spending money on this ridiculous thing? That's just sizzle. There's no stake. Like, just use the money for this, or put it in a savings account, put it in a CD if you don't need it. We had won like a bunch of grant money early on in the business, and it was fantastic. And we just were sitting on all of this cash, but we blew it like, like a kid in the candy store. It was not good. And so lesson learned. So I would go back and just say, cash is king. Do not spend, like, literally scrutinize every cent and dollar to make sure that your cash flow is good, because cash flow is what runs the business, right? When you run out of cash flow, then you got to go borrow money, and borrowing money right now is very expensive.
Exactly.
Raising money is very expensive. And if I'm raising money, I'm not doing my job as an operator. I'm out just raising money, which is a
Exactly.
full-time job. So cash is king. That's what I would tell
I
her.
agree with that 100%, especially in CPG. So on that note, if somebody watching this wanted to find your business or wanted to reach out to you personally, what's the best way for somebody to find you guys or to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, best way to find our business is obviously on our website, elims.co, and on Instagram, you just type in Elims. And if you forget the name, it's the word smile backwards. So it's super easy to remember. And then you can just always reach out to me on LinkedIn. Our business profile is on there, as well as myself and my co-founder and husband, Dr. Casey Lau.
Awesome. Well, Belinda, thanks so much for your time today. Of
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Dan. Thanks so much for having me.
course.